welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jodo Cast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode 118. My name is Evan Lewis. I am, of course, joined by Leo Andre. And Joe Latovsky.
Hey.
And, of course, we wouldn't even be here without all of our patrons. Yay!
I thought you were going to say without our parents.
Well, I mean, that's also true.
Technically
Yay!
correct.
Good job. Or is it? No, great job.
I was never brave enough to send my parents a thank you card on my birthday. I'd always thought about that.
That's pretty good. I like that, actually. Congratulations. So yes, patrons, thank you so much for all that you do, and we hope that our patrons are enjoying our, early release video exclusive, for what that's worth, edition of our episodes lately. All thanks to Joe. Yay! And Leo. Leo too.
I'm here. I show up for the videos.
I mean, what more can anyone ask for, really? But yes,
Having
if
a
people...
cat.
That's true. You could ask for that.
If you are
I know the boys
watching this uncut video version of the podcast, you get to see Evan and I's cats who are joining us.
Ewan tells me we need two cats, not
That's
just
a
one.
good
He's right.
call.
He's
I mean,
right.
they got to be able to hang out with each other. And then you walk in and you see them like grooming each other, and you go, "Oh."
Yeah. But see, here's what you got to do. You got to say, that's fine, but then you get to name them. Leo gets to name the cats.
Oh, that sounds like a dangerous prospect.
Why?
I don't know. What would be
My-
named after like ponies?
It's going to be
The la-
Stilgar.
The last two cats I owned were Dr. Raymond J. Stans and Dr. Egon Spengler were their names.
Of course they were. Of course they were. So yes, if you want to be a patron and partake of our faces, you can go to patreon.com/thejodocast and find out how you can start your career in funding podcasts. It's a noble
scam.
profession.
Sounds like a scam.
It's not so much a pyramid scheme as a rhombus.
If you pledge at the highest level, you get to help name Leo's cat whenever he gets one.
There you go. It sounds like a winner. You get to help fund the cat. They'll neuter it in your name.
Wonder if my dad still has the stuff so we can just do it ourselves.
I knew you were gonna say that. Oh, it's gonna be like that SNL skit where the rabbi is like showing how smooth the car ride is. He can perform a bris in the car while it's driving on a bumpy highway. I'm pretty sure it was Dan Aykroyd in that skit. Anyways, if you want to learn more about patronizing, you can also go to jodocast.com and follow the links. You can find the Patreon there. You can find really old articles there. You can find video links. You can find links to the Discord where everyone that you know already is hanging out there. And by everyone, I mean us three and the cats. So do that. I dare you.
There's actually more than just us on the Discord.
That's true. It's not like our
We don't
chat
talk about that anymore.
rooms from 2003.
I thought you were going to bring up the subreddit. There's a JodoCast subreddit. Hasn't been touched in a couple of years, I don't think.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. The only thing I go to Reddit for are chest codes for idle champions. That's it. And the occasional really good Warhammer picture. Anyways, we've got a lot of speculating to do tonight. But really quick...
Prospecting.
Yes, prospecting. We're like old-timey gold miners. We're just gonna sift through all that garbage and get to some gold, and then kill each other at the end of the movie. Just like Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Boy, I can tell I've got you two wrapped. Anyways,
I was
quick.
I was thinking more like was it whatever number of miles to Graceland where all the Elvises.
Oh, 3,000 miles to Graceland?
Yeah, all the Elvises kill each
Yeah.
other. Spoiler alert.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say badges. Badges.
I only know the Badgers version of that line.
Yeah.
They're what?
Yeah.
Badgers? Badgers?
Badgers.
We don't
We
need
don't
no
need
stinking
no
badgers.
stinking badgers. You know very well what that is, Leo. Smack. Smack, smack, smack. You know
Today-
what that is.
We're
There's no-
teaching poodles how to fly.
There's no badgers.
Okay.
I
Ready? Fly!
Turtles are nature's suction cups. It sticks!
Leo, I'm going to shake you through the internet. UHF.
You found the marble in the oatmeal. You get to drink from the fire hose.
I really have only seen that movie one time.
All right. We'll do a PKM on it.
And it was like at this point, like
20 years
20
ago?
more than 20 years ago.
No, okay. You know what? That's neither here nor there. We'll do the Weird Al Yankovic podcast another time when we do an episode all about Weird Al Star Wars songs. How does that sound? They're not games.
90% of this podcast has been a digression so far.
Yeah. So, really quick, what you've been playing? I've been painting for the Jodo of painting. We're in a new month. By the time you get this, we'll probably be a week or so into the month. But get on YouTube, see what the hell I'm talking about, and participate. And I've been trying to play JFO, but it can't hold my attention.
That's unfortunate and sad and other words like that.
I know. I want to just get
What
through
is it about? Are you not interested in the story about what's up with your crew and the finding the path of Eno Cordova so you can get into his vault or whatever it was?
Yeah, so far none of that has grabbed me. I mean, I know there's stuff that will grab me eventually, but right now... Yes?
Just curious how far you are in the game.
I'm like, I picked up BD1.
So you're like 5 minutes?
It's like an hour.
So okay, I was going to ask if you're farther than our YouTube series has gotten, and no,
I'm not.
You're in episode 1 of our YouTube series.
Well, okay, so basically you've played like the worst bits of the game.
Okay.
The intro. You played the intro.
Yeah. Well, and the controls really jack me up. I try to do one thing, thinking like that's the
What are you playing it on?
PS4.
Oh. Yeah, at first I remapped some of the controls when I played on Xbox, and then after I got more abilities, I'm like, oh wait, it's actually better the default way, and I switched it back.
All right. Well, that's what I've been playing very poorly. So let's talk about what y'all have been playing better than I have been.
I don't think I've been... What have I been playing?
I don't know.
I didn't mention last time. Well, last time we recorded, I had been playing a lot, and this time I think I just got some painting done for the Jodo Painting June, and I haven't played Fallen Order in a bit. I've still got some more in the can that I'm going to be editing.
Well, your YouTube fans think you've been playing a lot. Your YouTube fans think you've been breaking quarantine and playing games with people because you put out a lot of videos.
Do they? I didn't see any comments like that.
They're too afraid to say anything. Kitty.
Well, if YouTube is to be believed, I was playing Star Wars the VHS... Well, the VHS board game is called Star Wars the Interactive Video Board Game, but little movie magic that was recorded back in February. But that game is silly.
Oh, okay.
I think that's about it. I don't think I've been playing much.
That's your minute. Leo.
Does completing collections of Star Wars CCG cards count as playing a game?
Absolutely it does, yes. You get an achievement for that one.
Honestly, that's what I've been devoting my time to lately is sorting my CCG collection and finding people to trade to finish out some sets. I'm going to actually be meeting a guy tomorrow, and he is giving me the last 7 cards I need to finish out A New Hope, and so I'll have that whole set done.
And for those that might not know, the New Hope was the second set of the CCG.
Yeah, first expansion. Second
first
set.
Expansion.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only card I need to complete my set is the Jodo cast card.
Which
I only have the starter. I mean, I only have the starter, and once I have that, I'll consider that complete enough for me.
I thought you had bought a Jodo cast card.
Nope, never did. I'd always thought about it.
Yeah, you can usually.
I own both Jodo cast action figures.
You can usually find them pretty cheap on eBay and stuff.
Yeah.
Whoop. Evan, your mic's gone.
We should just order bulk.
Oh, now I see you. I hear you. Before, your lips were moving, but I didn't hear anything. So
wait, did you have a custom Jodo cast card in the Christmas bundle of custom art cards we gave out?
Yes. Well,
okay, then I guess technically I sort of have one.
Well, actually, I forget. Yeah, I forget. I think I did use the Jodo cast frame for that one. Yeah. So yeah. Yes,
okay.
You got
well, maybe. But we should print 1 million of them, or buy 1 million original ones, and sign them, and make their value go down, and give them to all of our fans.
Perfect. Well, I can tell you where we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that at GenCon this year because it got canceled. I don't recall if we ever talked about it on here or not, but hey, we're talking about it now. Y'all are probably wondering why we didn't do any GenCon speculation episodes yet, but now we are. And to that effect, let's just recap right now. Like I said, GenCon is canceled for a very good reason, which is...
They heard Evan was coming. Hey!
What did I miss?
Did my amazing joke cut out?
It kind of did.
No.
Actually, I think your laugh freaked out your RTX because it I caught the beginning of your laugh and then it sort of squealed and cut you off for the rest. So
yeah, just kind of ooh-wee! I'm looking at notes is what I'm looking at right now. Not your face.
The joke, which will no longer be funny upon retelling, is that it was canceled because they heard Evan was coming. And then we all laughed. And it was a highlight of the whole series.
Well, it's a good thing I'm the editor.
Well, it's a good thing that there's an uncut version going to go up so everybody can...
It's a good thing people got to pay to see that one.
The exclusive jokes.
That's what you're paying for. All right, so now where was I? Okay, so GenCon canceled. They are doing a virtual GenCon. So I don't know if it's going to be like the virtual PaizoCon or the virtual... Hopefully it's more like that than D&D Live.
They should call it Gen Kinda, because it's not GenCon, but it's not Gen Can't, because Gen Can't is what all of us losers do when we don't go to Gen Con and we just play board games at home. So it's somewhere in between, so it should be called Gen Kinda.
That's what it's called. Let's make the t-shirts. So they are having a virtual Gen Con. There's going to be lots of different events. I think they're going to try to have some of the panels and activities besides just playing games across Zoom or Discord. Probably Discord. I haven't looked at it super closely yet, mostly because we're planning some of our own things. And the one thing that is sort of I was going to say milestone, but that's not quite right. The highlight of Gen Con for us is usually Fantasy Flight Games in-flight report, at which they talk about all of the things coming up within the next year/half year. We hadn't heard anything about...
Sometimes multiple years, like when you announce a Super Star Destroyer.
Good point. They did just announce that they are indeed having a virtual in-flight report, so everyone is going to be able to tune in and see it. My notes are on the other side of the room, but pretty sure Twitch and YouTube, since that's where they live and do all of the video. Streaming on
Twitch. If you've watched the in-flight report in previous years, you know what to expect! !
Well, and that's the thing, is that
a dark room and like no audio for the first hour of it. That's
Imagine a dark room.
I'm hoping that them actually doing their own stream this time will carry forward to future years, because as far as I remember, every previous in-flight report, it's always been on like some other group in the community, like Gold Squadron Podcast or Team Covenant, and they're live streaming it and you watch them.
Well, except last year, didn't Fantasy Flight...
Did they do their own?
Yeah, and it was...
so they did finally catch on.
And it was really terrible. Like,
yes, it
was.
Like,
the audio was out for the first, 20 minutes or whatever, and, the lighting was so you couldn't even see what was going on the stage half the time. It's not the best.
Oh. Yeah. Me periscoping probably would have been better.
Well, I imagine they'll have plenty of time to figure it out beforehand, since they'll just be, at their own headquarters.
Yeah, I imagine they'll actually have people in-house broadcasting from the FFG headquarters rather than everyone from their own domicile.
Well, there might still be some of that.
It could be. For the Warhammer preview that was going to be at Adepticon, they've actually stretched that out across multiple months, and that was all from individual people's homes. So, could very well be. We could very well see Steve Horvath's office. So, since he's become my favorite shout-out of ours, as we are trying to tempt him with employment.
We're trying to hire him or trying to get him to hire us?
Trying to get him to hire us. I realize that sounded backwards. Anyways, yes, in-flight report
we
is
could
happening.
Always...
Yes?
Sorry, just had to express a great idea related to hiring him.
Feel free.
When you introduce the show, you can say, okay, joining me is Joe and Leo and Steve, and then we just pause, and then we're disappointed and go, maybe next week. To be polite, he'll eventually...
He just can't say anything.
Right.
We'll ask him for his predictions, and he'll be like, I cannot talk about future products. So, we are going to have our prediction show now, but let's talk about the teeny tiny little slivers of information we have so far. Because so far we don't have much of anything, except they called out specifically the future products for Star Wars Legion, Star Wars Armada, Marvel Champions, and...
Keyforge. Some Keyforge.
Keyforge, yeah. So, that's all that has been specifically called out in the one article that they have. And I suppose before we get too much further, we should point out that is going to be on the Wednesday.
July 29th.
There you go, 29th, which is a Wednesday, correct?
It's one of them weekdays.
At 7 p.m. Eastern Time, USA.
7 p.m. Central Time.
Oh, is it Central?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. So what? Really? So it's 8 Eastern? What are they doing? Going on Minnesota time? Apparently. Get out of here, Spider.
Oh, they got clocks up there too. Are you being bitten by a spider?
It was accosting me. I got accosted by a spider. Go kill it, Bob. Or don't. You're lazy. Alright, so they've called out those few games. Let's go down the line for the Star Wars ones, and then we can talk about everything else. So, Legion. Really quick. What was the span of time between announcing releasing Legion and then them announcing and releasing Clone Wars for Legion?
Legion was announced at GenCon.
1 year.
Okay.
The game was out for a year before they announced Clone Wars?
Mm-hmm.
So, do we think there might be a chance on sequel stuff, or do you think we're a little far away from that yet?
I mean, the original plan was to have announced the sequel factions at Adepticon earlier this spring.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you know that?
Because what's his face, the old head of FFG,
Andrew Navarro?
Yeah, said so. Last summer.
On like a Reddit thing?
No, like
his AMA?
Oh yeah, the like AMA video thing that he did. Yeah,
there was a lot of stuff in
what
that
was
one.
It? That was like last August, I think.
I think so. That sounds right.
Yeah, basically in that he said that they were planning on announcing originally earlier they were like, yep, at the next Adepticon we'll do the sequel factions. But then they said they decided to push that back for other things. So who knows? Maybe this is all the further they wanted to push it back. But at the same time, I feel like the whole product line has kind of gotten pushed back some because of events this year.
Mm-hmm.
So they still may be holding off on the sequel stuff.
If they announced it, I'd be like, all right. I wouldn't like, I got super excited about the Clone Wars stuff. I don't even know if I'd buy into sequel factions.
Yeah, I don't see them selling as well as the other 4 factions. I mean, there's obviously going to be some people who are very excited about them and want them. And I mean, I'll buy the stuff when it comes out. There's specific stuff like I really want like a Kylo Ren and Hux, some stuff like that.
So you can make them kiss like in Spaceballs.
Now kiss. But just in general, I don't see them being like sales driver. Like the Clone Wars core set was a huge boost to the game when that stuff came out, and so I could definitely see them making the decision to concentrate more on the 4 existing factions for the time being. But
right, I expect we'll certainly get just the next chunk of Rebel Empire, Separatist Republic expansions announced. I'm skeptical that they'll even do sequel factions at this point. I mean, they have it in X-Wing and they seem to do well there, so maybe, but
I mean, as long as the game keeps going, we'll get them somewhere down the road here. I just
I
don't necessarily think that this is going to be the time.
Yeah, we're at least finally at a point where they're not like waiting for more movies to come out. They've basically got all the source material they need now to really start hitting it.
Well, remember, actually, you know what? Remember at Gamma, right before all the COVID stuff came out, they made a mention of Mandalorian for Legion.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say that is the thing we are probably going to find out more about.
Forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Right,
well,
yeah.
And something
I'm very curious.
Yes, Evan?
I just want to know how's that going to... I just want to know how they're going to fit those into the existing factions. And I'm very curious about what's coming with that.
I would say there's a couple ways they could go with that. Especially for a bounty hunter mercenary... I won't say faction quite yet, because as much as I would love to see a scum/mercenary faction, which I think that would offer a lot of different stuff besides one side has dudes in white armor, the other side has guys in camo armor, which is what original is kind of, and sequel definitely is kind of, and prequel definitely is not. But I think if they made all of the like bounty hunters, scum, mercenary types expensive guys that could go to any faction, I think that would be very interesting and really shake things up.
See, I don't really like that idea personally.
Okay.
I like the factions having their own distinctive identities. I would like to keep the cross-faction stuff very limited. You know, like R2 and 3PO works for me. I wouldn't want to see necessarily, I think, like... I really can't think of any unit that I would like to see playable across like all factions or something like that myself.
Right. So when I think of it, I think of Imperial Assault, which you had to... One of your upgrade cards was like the temporary alliance card. Mm-hmm. So if you were playing the mercenary faction, you can borrow up to 2 rebel players. And if you're doing the Imperials, you could borrow up to 2 mercenary guys. The rebels didn't have a way to pull people into their team. And the upgrade card cost stuff. There's an additional cost on top of, right, just the cost of the character. So I thought that was kind of a unique way to keep it limited and sort of still thematic, because I don't ever want to see Boba Fett working with the rebels. It just doesn't feel very Star Wars-y to do that. Mm-hmm. The other way is just the old Wizards of the Coast Star Wars miniatures game. There's another faction called Fringe. It had the Mandalorian symbol on it. And those ones could either be their own standalone faction, or you could put any Fringe character on any team if you didn't care about like era restrictions. So I feel like I prefer the Imperial Assault method because it's much more restrictive and you have to pay a bit of a premium to get those guys, and you're never going to have Boba Fett on working with the rebels. You could have, a rebel working with the mercenaries for something, because I guess that could be a thing, but I don't know. I like the way Imperial Assault did it.
We know. With things like 40k and Age of Sigmar, they have a very limited number of points or slots that can be used to bring in allied factions. You can't just slap them together in a competitive environment, 2 different factions that share keywords. You have to deal out points in a very limited fashion in order to bring in allies, even if in the lore, they're best friends. Yeah, but they're different factions, so you need to pay a bunch to be able to bring them in.
Yeah, but I wonder if you could even just make it a command upgrade on your commander. So you want to bring somebody in, you've got to fill up one of their upgrade slots with this 10-point card that says you may include one character from this faction. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how they're going to work the Mandalorian. And obviously there's lots of Imperial units they can pull from that, like Moff Gideon or the Baby Punchers.
I feel like Din will probably be a rebel unit, to be honest.
That makes the most sense, but he's...
Yeah, technically the rebellion's over by then, but...
Right. Yeah, these will be the farthest units that are, like, clearly, like, out of, like, era, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and even
at the point
even with Cara Dune, I mean, she's not with the New Republic. She is excused from service from having been in the Rebel Alliance. So, right. Would we in game call her a rebel? Like, yes?
I would. The thing is like I feel like Cara and Din belong in the rebel faction at least as much as Boba and Bosk belong in the Imperial faction.
Well, and that's the thing, is that they're just doing it for Boba Fett and Bosk are doing it for money.
Yeah, we've at least seen Boba Fett and Bosk be like, "Hi, Imperials, let's hang out." Din has never even once, like, given a second thought to the New Republic or the Rebellion.
Yeah, but he does hate the Empire, it seems. At least...
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. And last time we checked, in previous source material, the Mandalorians were very firmly anti-Empire and worked with the Rebels quite a bit. And we are getting those... did they announce those...
oh, yeah.
Mandalorian things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clan Ren?
Maybe...
Yeah, they're coming out opposite Inferno Squad.
Maybe we'll
get baby Din for the Republic faction or something.
Well, I was just gonna say maybe we'll get you know what would actually be cool? Okay. You want cross faction stuff.
Yeah.
They put out a New Republic faction, right?
Okay.
That then you can also have New Republic units in either Rebel or Resistance armies whenever Resistance finally comes out. Because that could work, I think.
Okay.
Because New Republic kind of overlaps into both of those.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know.
Okay.
But at any rate, I feel like, Mandalorian's what we're going to be seeing. I don't think we're going to necessarily see new factions unless the Mandalorian stuff somehow ties into a new faction in some way. But I don't know.
I want a Blurg-mounted miniature. I've been wanting that since Legion came out because I was thinking of, the Twi'leks riding them in Rebels. I just wanted those for my Rebels. But I feel like the odds of us getting a Baby Yoda figure are about 99%. I can't wrap my head around what the gameplay function will be, except maybe like a healer, maybe a one-time heal card, and then you exhaust him, and you.
Yeah, I don't know. Or she could do it like there's also when he fights the
Mudhorn.
Yeah, he. Baby Yoda freezes him, holds him up in the air with the Force. So
maybe he just has a bunch of really strong abilities, but once you use one of them once, he's done for the rest of the game. Time.
His Din's 3-pip command card will be a magic hand thing. That's what it'll be called, and it'll be either heal up a unit or stun an enemy unit, something like that. And his model will actually be an alternate pose for Din, where he's in a baby bundle on the front of the Mandalorian figure, like a bundle o' joy.
See, now Grief Karga, there's a Mandalorian guy who I could see going to either Rebels or Imperial, because at the beginning of the series he's pretty
scuzzy.
Yeah.
Same with, well, not a Mandalorian character, but I'm just thinking of just anybody who would be able to fit both. Like Hondo is a good example, I think.
Yep.
Even though he leans more Rebel, but
let's move on, because I think Leo hit it on the head.
I'm going to make one more speculation for Legion. There will be another sort of terrain type box, like the escape pod or the Endor bunker, something in that realm of product. I'm calling it.
I think that's a good call. So for Legion, Mandalorian, very good call from Leo, and new terrain piece from Joe, also a very good call. I think we already know what's coming for Armada, but let's hear thoughts.
Yeah, Clone Wars.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. There'll be Venators and whatever the Separatist ones are called.
So I think we're for sure going to get Obi-Wan as a, was it Commander, Admiral?
I think it's called an Admiral. I think that's what that upgrade is called. I mean, I'd hope that you'd get like Yularen, but it'd probably end up being like some kind of...
Yeah, see, that's what I want too.
Jedi character.
If you told me that like Admiral Yularen was finally going to get his day in the sun, I would probably...
He's in games.
Yeah.
Not Clone Wars version of him, though.
Exactly. As I recall, his card in LCG gave me aneurysms.
I don't remember what he did, but I also remember hating him.
That's all you need to know.
I don't think there'll be anything particularly exciting about the Armada announcements, except that, yay, they're continuing the game, and yay, it's getting Clone Wars stuff. Like, it'll all be very cool, but there'll be nothing that's, like, surprising or stop the presses worthy.
Yeah.
Armada fans will probably just be quite happy.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. Well, I know that feeling. Like, oh, my gosh, really? We get something?
You know what? Sorry, I'm going to bump us back to Legion. But...
Oh.
Okay.
Just taking us way back.
Remember? What? Okay, everybody, remember.
Reverse.
We need to...
Reverse.
Quick, play like the, like the flashback kind of like noise. So we're like... Yeah.
That's the best I could do.
Yeah, it's perfect. Perfect.
I thought you meant flashback the quest for identity.
No, I was just going to mention that a while ago, the one of the French distributors did leak Anakin and Maul. I wonder if
Sacre bleu.
Yeah. So they might put out official announcements for that before GenCon, or we might get that at the in-flight. We'll see here.
I feel like every year leading up to GenCon,
they always
drop a bunch of announcements, and we're like, I can't believe they didn't just save that for GenCon.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say, too, is I wouldn't be surprised if we actually get articles or something for those, like, 2 weeks before the in-flight report. So, but I'm throwing it out there just in case.
Yeah.
It made me think of that because wasn't there a bunch of X-Wing stuff leaked recently too? Like they finally leaked like that the TIE Heavy is coming out and
I don't.
That sounds familiar.
That's the only ones that I mostly remember the TIE Heavy because I knew like one of our patrons has been pissed like since the day Solo trailer came out that he still hasn't had a TIE Heavy.
They call it TIE Brute.
Brute, whatever. I don't know. I've just always called it the Heavy.
You gotta call it a Brooder. Any TIE that doesn't have an ER at the end of its name, it disgusts me.
TIE brother?
Like the Bruter.
Yes.
Oh, I mean brother works. Brother fits the convention.
Oh, yes, the classic TIE Phantomer.
Yep.
It's like all Star Destroyers should start with IN in their name, in my name, as far as I'm concerned.
The inconceivable.
The indomitable. The invincible. The inflammable. Inflammable.
Yeah.
The inexecutor.
The inebriated.
Incontrovertible.
The incognito.
The incontinence.
That one's known for dropping a lot of
I think that was Akbar's last ship before moving to Resistance. So X-Wing, we're going to go with Thai Brüder.
Oh, no, it's just a German one.
Yeah.
Yeah, get in my Thai Brüder.
I
don't think there's going to be any. I mean, they didn't. X-Wing is not listed in the article announcing the in-flight report, so I'm going to say they won't talk about X-Wing at in-flight report.
Wow.
So I will speculate, based on the evidence before me, that they'll just say, "Hey, X-Wing fans, more stuff's coming," and move on to the next thing.
Okay, so that's Joe's thoughts. Leo, are you going to stick with the leaks that came out for X-Wing, or?
Yeah, like I said, I can't remember what they were anymore at this point, unfortunately. But yeah,
Cloud Car, Skyhopper.
More.
I'm making that up.
Resistance.
Oh yeah!
Resistance?
It was besides the Brute. I remember there was a V-wing and the Eta 2. And the Tri-Fighter, and I think
that's not out yet.
No, and I think there was actually a Separatist, so a Django version of Slave One in the list also.
Oh. Okay.
And then also I think possibly some of the re-releases that they had held off on, like the Raider, Saw's Partisans, the Reaper.
I thought that came with
2 weeks.
Saw's Partisans came out, and then they were like going to re-release it, but then they were like, never mind.
Yeah, they were like, there's enough of those out there right now, so we don't need to. So we're not going.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it was one of those things, at least with like Saw and the Reaper, where it was like, we're just going to hold off until all the like mixed edition stock sells out.
All right, that's fair. Okay, so Joe says nothing. Leo says the leaked content. Okay, we're getting into murky waters with the next few. Imperial
I feel like we
Assault.
could have like a little special corner, like when you go over to the guy for the news, we go to Leo for the leaks, and it's Leaky Leo or Leo's leakage.
Aww.
I like Leo's leakage. He brings us all this news out the leaks.
The bumper for that will just be the sound of him taking a leak. Zip! Okay, so what do we got today? No? Not even a titter? Okay. Moving on. Imperial Assault. Do we think we're going to get a little something to just...
Yes.
Yeah? A little something or a lot of something?
I think if they say anything about Imperial Assault, it will be... They will show the product at the very least, even if they don't explain too much of it. They're not going to say, hey, more Imperial Assault stuff coming. They're going to show the next thing for it. Even if it's just like another app mission or a new app or something. That's what I think. If they talk about it, there will be some non-vague information about what the next product is.
Okay. Leo, any thoughts on that? I know you're not nearly as invested monetarily or emotionally in Imperial Assault as Joe is, but do you have any thoughts?
No. That's he just...
Man, I'm glad this isn't like Crossfire or the McLaughlin report. Like, Leo Andre, what do you think of this? Go! Like,
Imperial Assault is dead! You're a fool!
No, it's just Joe already covered anything I would have said.
I mean, yeah, he already said it's not as dead as we thought or whatever. There's more coming. So
yeah.
At this point, I feel like GenCon will be the time to announce it. It would be rude to just do more of, oh, by the way, it's coming.
Uh-huh.
you know what, as far as I'm concerned, they've been rude in the past. But we will move on from that. And the next question is also murky waters. Do we think they will say anything besides, we're still making Star Wars RPG? With reference to the Star Wars RPG.
You know, I don't think the RPG is going to get mentioned at all.
I agree.
They're not doing it anymore, so I mean, maybe they'll be like, hey, these other guys are doing the RPG now, so don't worry, it's still going to be around, but that'd be it. I don't see the RPG being a part of the in-flight at all.
Let me play Evan's advocate and remind you that they took 30 damn minutes to allow their little buddies...
Are we still going to bitch about this?
Yep. They allowed some other dingleberries to use up their time to talk about their dang old new Marvel miniatures game. So,
what company took over the...
Yes. What
company took over the role-playing game? Yeah.
I think they're Spanish, I think, actually.
Are they Spanish? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
But also, this would require them to shift the stream over, pass it to somebody else.
In España?
Or just off-site. If they talk about it, it'll be one of them going, hey, it's not us anymore, sorry. I'm with Leo, I don't think they're going to talk about it.
Okay, well, that's why we discuss these things. All right, last one.
I wouldn't be sad if they did. I think it'd be great if they did, but I don't think they will.
Especially if they were like, hey, we're reprinting all of it, and there will be so much stock, so I can look at those books that have been sitting in my Amazon wish list and see the price go down.
They'll announce a sequel era book.
They did the sequel era beginner game box, and they never went farther than that, which is weird.
And yet it took them doing that before they did the excellent era source books.
Right. I'd be so they I feel like are obliged to come out with a Mandalorian era source book or something that plays in that sandbox.
Here's the question.
Yes.
So maybe we're getting a little far afield since I've already said I don't think they're going to talk about it in flight. But do you think if they do start putting stuff out for like the sequel era or more things for the prequel era, we're going to see a core book set in those eras also? We got 3 different core books for the the OT era. I mean, are we going to see like they
could just
like something called like Resistance and Order or something like that for?
They could just have like Edge.
Actually, that's not too bad.
Rim of the Republic. Just be the
oh my gosh,
the scum version of Edge of the Empire for that era. You could have
Age of Resistance,
Age of Republic, and
Age of Resistance, son.
Force and Destiny, but in a different time period. That's all on the cover.
Force and Dyad.
I'm thinking backing up more to the Clone Wars. I feel like playing as having the Force and Destiny setting in the Clone Wars era is more exciting to me.
Yes, it is.
And I would happily play as a Jedi doing Clone Wars stuff and grappling with those like morals and being in a war rather than playing as a Jedi who's hiding from the Empire.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree that Force and Destiny is a pre-Imperial source book. Far and away, yes.
All of the like pre-made adventures, though, are in the dark times, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Which is
or thereabouts, or
somewhat unfortunate. Actually, you bring up a good point. I would like to think that now that we've got actual source books, which I still can't say how much I appreciate the fact that they exist. Maybe we'll see adventures set, or maybe like this year, this upcoming quarter, Q1 2021, whenever, an adventure for each one of those source books. Maybe not each one, but specific to them.
Especially now that I feel like if there was anybody in like the higher ups who were skeptical about like if people cared about the Clone Wars and stuff when they were making Destiny or they're putting out Legion, I feel like now they're like, okay, people want that.
Yeah.
Because I could see people being a bit skeptical about that a couple years ago, and now it's Legion. They saw the success of Legion. They saw how excited people were when they finished the Clone Wars on Disney Plus. I feel like more content in that regard is not unlikely.
Yes, it is far more in demand than it was circa 2012. Because 2012, they were very adamant, like, we're going to stay in the original trilogy. Well, clearly, they're not. Okay. Murky Waters still, and this is the last one we'll do of really getting nitty-gritty. Card game. Do we think there'll be any inkling of a card game?
Yes.
God, I hope so.
I feel like all of those sly things that our good old buddy Steve told the Team Covenant all that time ago, I feel like they're going to sprout at the in-flight report.
Those things he could have been telling us. his good pals.
If we had bothered reaching out about interviews to people.
Yeah, I suppose we should do that.
Come on.
Instead of just speculating wildly.
Man, he follows us on Twitter. He should volunteer himself. That's how this stuff works, doesn't it?
I'm not sure that's how it works, but I admire your gumption. Your chutzpah.
I mean, we're popular enough that people should come to us. That's how I feel it should be anyway.
We're the celebrities. They're just the people who make this stuff.
Someday there will be Funko Pops of us. I promise you that.
Every day there's a new product released and I don't get a free copy of it mailed to me. I
feel a little insulted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't they know who we are?
Honestly. Maybe if we had been doing Destiny previews, bad stuff wouldn't have happened.
The games would still be around.
Maybe.
Or maybe,
obviously,
for whatever reason, the number one most popular video on our YouTube channel is my review of the Star Wars Rebellion expansion, which they did actually send to me.
That's true. Well, they sent
that
it to
was
me.
the one thing.
You.
Yeah, then you sent it to me. That's the one thing they ever gave us for free, and maybe they just hated that video, and they're like, "Nope, that was a mistake."
Yeah. And 2 boxes of Age of Rebellion starter that we gave away to very happy people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So both of you said, yes, we will see some card game thing.
I said, God, I hope so. I didn't.
Okay, you said, God, I hope so.
I said yes.
Joe says yes.
I think
Joe's much more affirmative on this than I am.
Well, see, if you look at the article,
person.
Yeah,
it says... existing lines like Marvel Champions, Star Wars Legion, Keyforge, Star Wars Armada, and much, much more.
When they say much, much more, what they really mean is 10 more Cthulhu games.
Yes, you're actually... I do want to pick your brains really quick on some of those things because, I mean, the Star Wars show, we talk about Star Wars, but I like a lot of their other stuff. Leo likes at least a few of their other things. I don't know how.
Rune Wars 2.0, baby.
Do you play any other
Gears
FFG
of War
things?
the board game? I mean, it's not like I don't think they have any ongoing games that I am continually buying into.
No, but
any of the Terranoth series stuff, or
well, they haven't made any of those in a couple of years, even though they're like, yeah, totally, more is coming.
I mean, I feel like yes, but I look at my shelf, and the only other game that has the Fantasy Flight logo on it is the Gears of War board game, which was years ago. They don't have it's not on their website anymore. They don't have the license anymore.
They also used to have World of Warcraft.
That is true.
But I always look at I thought I've played Cosmic Encounter before. That's one of their like big first party ones, and that game is really good. I used to own Twilight Imperium. I sold it because I'm like, I'm never getting around to this.
I played half a game of that one time.
I got it. It was a wedding present, and we're like, cool, this will be a fun thing to set aside a weekend and get all our friends together. And then like 5 years later, we were like, no.
Really?
That hasn't happened yet.
That stinks. So in any event, I like a lot of their products. The Terranoth Descent / Rune Wars / all the rest of those that they haven't talked about in forever. Again, Andrew Navarro said back on that AMA that there was stuff coming that was going to make fans of Descent happy. He specifically did not say Descent 3rd Edition, but...
And then he's gone now.
And now he's gone. And it's just like, okay. Well.
And now, I bet if we asked him today, he was like, yeah, I was pushing really hard for Rune Wars 2.0. And that's why I'm gone now. They threw me out because I just wanted it too bad for you, Evan.
I always thought that, and I have barely even like looked at or played games in that universe, and I always thought it's cool. Whenever there's like a high fantasy universe that seems relatively not copycatty of Lord of the Rings, I'm always like, that's pretty neat, like Dragon Age and stuff.
Yeah.
I always liked the aesthetic of those Terranoth Descent whatever games.
Yeah, and honestly, if I had to recommend a non-Star Wars game that I think you would enjoy, it would be Descent. Because it's Imperial Assault, but
Imperial Assault's better though.
I haven't played enough of that to be able to say one way or the other, but that's what I've heard from the community. Yes.
Well, Imperial Assault came out second, and it was essentially like, okay, let's just make this game again, but better, and we can fix certain sticking points of Descent.
Yeah. Also, in fairness, most of what I've played of Descent has been Road to Legend, their app.
The app.
Yeah. So, in any event, I want some Terranoth stuff, and I'm still holding my breath, but I don't know. I'm sure we're going to get more L5R, although now that they're not doing the RPG, now they're just doing the card game, and that's probably a much bigger moneymaker for them.
Do you think there's room in that world for a board game?
They already have one.
Oh. Yes, the answer.
Battle for Rokugan, which came out before the RPG, after the first box of the card game. And I think they're probably getting ready to do the next big stage for the card game for L5R, because the next box set is the Clan War, which in the old stories from like 25 years ago, or how old am I? Getting on 40? Yeah, 25 years ago or so.
Pretty old.
Yeah, getting old, but like way back. Way back. The Clan War was one of the big first things that happened. So we may be looking at a second edition of L5R within the next 12 months. But yeah, like they don't even do miniatures of L5R. The only miniatures that are made by their now split departments are Legion Armada and X-Wing. And it's just like, do something else. I think Privateer Press is still doing the occasional L5R miniature. It's like, make a war game. Make a war game based on L5R, and believe me,
maybe they don't have the rights to if Privateer Press is still putting stuff out.
It's so weird because they only did. Sorry, I'll let you go in just 1 second. I just wanted to explain this. Privateer Press is making miniatures under contract from Fantasy Flight Games, because the only reason I know about that is because there was an article about it on ffg.com from a long time ago, and it's like one of those. It's a monthly box deal. It's a loot crate type thing of L5R miniatures. It's so weird. Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of licensing things, one bit of news, if you watched our monthly news video, that got my brain doing brain things was there's a new game coming out called Unlock Star Wars Edition or whatever, like a escape room in a box. And that in itself's not a huge deal, but the fact that it's not from Hasbro nor Fantasy Flight, but it is coming out in North America, made me think. Because normally, as far as I know, for the last forever, the only Star Wars board games coming out in North America have been from either Fantasy Flight or Hasbro. The company that makes Unlocked, Space Cowboys, I believe they're owned by Asmodee, which would explain why they're making Star Wars games. But it's coming out in North America, and it's not Fantasy Flight or Hasbro, which makes me think maybe the licensing crap that's been like holding this back forever is finally starting to loosen up. Maybe Hasbro's like, all right, whatever. Or maybe it expired or what, because we've never really known the details of it.
Or maybe Disney bought Hasbro.
So what I'm saying is maybe there's hope for more board games. And we know Fantasy Flight has some sort of agreement with Hasbro that they can make board games now, because obviously they make ones that Hasbro would never publish, like Rebellion and Outer Rim, clearly fit into the board game umbrella. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was another Star Wars board game announced. I would prefer they officially announce the expansion for Outer Rim. That would probably be my number one most excitable announcement they could have, even probably more than more Imperial Assault. Yeah. But I'm just saying, maybe there's a crack in the dam and more games are going to start popping up here. Because it's weird being an American who somehow has less access to certain Star Wars content. Usually, the other way around. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's what I've been thinking about. I'm like, what if all of these games all of a sudden start popping up at Target or whatever?
I would certainly order myself a copy of Star Wars Carcassonne. That would be number one.
It's pretty fun. I need to get the expansion still. I don't need to. I just need it to complete my little collection.
So in any event, this section is mostly me just rambling angrily about no Terran off. I would love to give them money for an L5R miniature war game.
I got it.
You got.
They're gonna announce a new miniatures game, and Evan's ears will perk up from an original IP, and Evan will go, Keyforge, the miniatures game.
I hate you so much right now, but you're probably right. You know what? You're probably right. Ugh, that's disgusting. There's nothing wrong with the Keyforge universe. I just don't get it. You know what? I even left them off the list here of their other properties. Arkham. Like, are we going to get a new Arkham game?
There's always another Arkham game.
Yeah. It's probably going to be Elder Sign 2nd edition, something goofy that everyone just kind of crosses their eyes and says, "Why?"
It'll be like Eldritch Elderberries or something.
It doesn't.
Elderberries.
They, to be honest, though, I mean, you could probably just make. It doesn't matter what you make. If you just slap Cthulhu on it, people will buy that.
Oh, Cthulhu.
It's true. And
I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I've got Cthulhu Flux, just because.
Hey, that is a glorious game.
Flux is great. You've never played Flux?
No, I played Flux. I think once. I've never had a particular care about Cthulhu. or any of them ancient ones.
Oh yeah, you were perplexed by Shub-Niggurath last time, as I recall.
It's not the month to be throwing around words like that.
Nope, it's really not. But
Chargar
yes.
Khan, he who hath no name.
And then more Marvel. I mean, we're certainly going to get... Well, we've got a big box on the way for Champions.
Yeah. Man, I'd
got,
like a new game.
I was going to say, I would think we would see something more like a new game for Marvel. If they've got the Marvel license, you'd think, much like Star Wars, they're going to want to exploit that.
Yeah.
So
but they obviously don't have the exclusive with that license.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So maybe there's the rules here and there that hold them back.
Well, not miniatures, because that market has been cornered. Board game?
I'd be excited if they announced a Marvel board game of some sort. But
I would be super excited if... No, well, this is super muddy waters at this point. If they came out with a Marvel sourcebook for Genesis. Because there is something about superhero, especially licensed superhero RPGs, that they have a very, very short shelf life. Like, none of the previous Marvel RPGs or even DC RPGs have lasted for any significant amount of time. And I don't know if it's because they are made in a really weird way that people don't enjoy, or if it's licenses that just didn't last for very long.
I didn't even know any officially licensed RPGs existed, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. There was, of course, a Marvel one in the 80s. I don't recall who made it. I don't know that it was TSR. But then I think the same company that did the Smallville and Supernatural RPGs, Margaret Wise, I think their company did a Marvel RPG from the early 2000s, because it was very heavily influenced by Civil War, not the movie, the actual comic series, and the Ultimate Universe. Those were both big influences on that Marvel system. And then DC had a license with Green Ronin to do DC sourcebooks for Mutants and Masterminds, which I thought would be the best one to play, because Mutants and Masterminds is just a D&D 3rd edition derivative.
So, Mutants and Masterminds is really like the only one that I've had any experience with or anything like that.
Yeah. And I do love Mutants and Masterminds. I think that's great. That's actually where I learned to play D&D 3rd edition was that.
And Champions, of course, there was Champions.
Yeah, there was Champions. I don't even know who published that one.
What is, Star Wars-wise, the best thing they could announce besides a remake of the CCG?
Way to cut that off. I like that.
Well,
I said for me it would be the expansion to Outer Rim.
So are we talking realistically speaking, or Magical Christmas Land?
How about one of each?
Okay, perfect. Leo.
Okay. Magical Christmas Land, Legends in Legion.
Oh.
Okay,
I hadn't even thought of that.
There we go. It's never going to happen, but I probably wouldn't play them, but a Yuzong Vong faction, adding Mara Jade, and
that sounds,
stuff like that.
It all sounds real bad. I would I don't like your wish. I unwish it. Not that the content is just I'm picturing myself at the table with playing with people who barely have a grasp of canon lore, talking about this stuff and how it was better and how Disney sucks and this sort of thing.
And of course,
that's all I could think of.
They have invincible superhero Luke at the table as well.
Ganner Rysode? Come on, I want to put Ganner Rysode on the table.
The Ganner.
The Ganner.
The MFN Ganner.
Killix.
Dash Rendar.
Killix, however, are banned. There'll be
the
no
Killick faction.
No Killix allowed in my Legions.
You can just go buy some Tyranids, plop them on the table, we're set to go.
All right, what's your realistic best announcement?
I mean, really, just whatever a new card game, and hopefully one that's good. They announce
that's second.
They announce a good card game.
This is a new card game, and it's good.
Not that Destiny was a bad game, but we've already discussed the issues it had and why I stopped.
We had a whole episode about the next Star Wars card game. Go hop back a few episodes to re-listen to our genius insights.
Hey, you know what? I'm pretty sure Star Wars LCG lasted longer than the Confederacy.
Well, it did have that.
Things too.
It was better than the Confederacy too. So.
Hell yeah!
It had moles that lasted longer.
All right, Joe, give me your magical Christmas land.
Oh, my magical Christmas land one.
If you got your realistic now, and give you this time.
Board game based on Chopper. We have to go undercover or like a solo RPG.
You're just Chopper.
Just something Chopper based, or just I can't think of anything that magical Christmas landy. If they remade or re-released Epic Duels, but with their nice quality miniatures and updated rules. That's especially Magic Christmas Land because it's the Hasbro, Milton Bradley, or whatever, and wouldn't beef them.
Y'all really took this magical Christmas land question to heart. Okay, realistic. Bring us back to Earth.
He already gave us his realistic.
Oh, me? The Outer Rim expansion.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
What is your Magic Life Day land?
Boy, oh boy.
Take it back. I want Lumpy for Legion.
Ah, man.
That's my Magic Christmas land.
I gotta pick something crazy and outlandish. I was gonna be semi-reasonable, just, hopeful.
That defeats the purpose.
Yeah, no, you just do whatever you want. You can be as...
Yeah. Your Magic Christmas land can be magical or non-magical as you like it.
Yeah, I mean, if your Magic Christmas land is a slightly more realistic one than ours, then that's fine. That's fine.
I'm gonna make both of you sorry that you gave me this latitude. LCG 2nd edition.
Well, I mean...
well, let's not get too crazy here.
If they, made it good this time, that'd be okay.
It just needed a few adjustments.
I mean, I will say later sets seem to get it. They needed. Yeah, they did. They needed to have some of the mechanics they put in at the end from the very start.
Yeah, if the first expansion cycle had the multi-faction, not identity cards. Identity cards. That's a Netrunner thing.
The faction cards. Yeah. Why did they not? Why did it take until one of the very last expansions for them to finally do something with those cards? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. It was there was a lot of weird things with that one. It was like I said, it was sort of seemed like a half-baked idea, and that they just were like, we've got the Star Wars license. We need a card game. And someone said well, I have this. Eric Ling was like, I had this game, but I didn't really like it that much. So I wasn't going to do anything with it, but I don't have a better idea right now. So they were like, ship it, print it, ship it.
So, I mean, yeah, if they just did something with the faction cards and then made missions like the thing instead of the objectives the thing, and made the locations matter, I think it could have done some things. So that's Magical Christmas Land. That's me looking for a way to salvage my collection. Realistically speaking, boy, I'd like to say more RPG, but I can't because, they'll never invite another company that lives under the same umbrella to announce things with them.
You're just never going to stop throwing shade at the Marvel game, are you?
No, I'm not. Not at all. I'm not going to get any Descent stuff. I'm not going to get any of that. Well,
gotta pick a Star Wars thing.
You know what? I want to see, even if this is all we get, I want to see the model for Din, for the Mandalorian. I want to see his model.
Okay.
That's it.
That is certainly within the realm of realistic wish.
And with that, we got to the end of my list. Is there anything else that y'all want to say, or should we wrap this sucker up? Because we're probably looking at that's plenty of time.
Let's wrap it up and send it to Magical Christmas Land.
Sweet. We're going to button this up, send it off to Santa. So thank you, Leo. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, patrons.
How about Satan?
Send it off to Satan? Satan's little helper?
Yeah.
Satan Claus.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that's a thing.
He's always out there.
You.
Or to Clancy Brown's Mandalorian character.
Hey, you know what? That episode, if nothing else, gave us a whole bunch of sweet Legion models to look forward to. I would have said LCG cards to look forward to, but not until we get that sweet, sweet second edition. All right. Thank you, everybody. Come to the Discord. Come say hi. Come hang out with us. Check out Patreon if you want to. And tell your friends about this awesome Star Wars gaming podcast that you love so very, very much. Have a good night, and we will talk with you soon. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.